It's me, Jenny, the maid in disguise. If you're wondering why a rich girl like me chose to be a maid, then it sounds like you haven't watched the dramatic episode 1 all about my turbulent time in this house. You should totally go and check it out. I had my dream acting role to get, so what better way to understand the mindset of a maid than to live the life of one? So that's why I'm here, working at the director Lucas's house. Unfortunately, it wasn't all smooth sailing, as his spiteful daughter Lily found out my secret, and now she was intent on making my life a misery. Jessie, Miss Hemingworth is asking for her tea. You see, I was already having 1,000 things to take care of, since tonight the director's throwing a party for the movie's crew. And still, Lily wouldn't give me a break with all of her annoying orders. As soon as I put the tea tray down in front of Lily, she looked at me disapprovingly, then took the dish towel from the tray and wiped the lipstick off my lips. Maids have no use for makeup, do they, Jessie? Or should I say, Jenny? Are you trying to seduce my Jack? Stay away from him, else I'll make you pay for it. I leaned close to Lily's ear. Hate to break it to you, but Jack's the one who can't seem to stay away from me. Apparently, you aren't as attractive as a maid, huh? Furious, Lily knocked over the teacup, causing a few drops of hot water to splash onto my hand. Right at that moment, Jack passed by and rushed over to me. Are you okay? Let me look at that. I'm fine. Please go away. I don't want my mistress to misunderstand. Jack helped me up, then turned and gave Lily an opposing look. I didn't do anything. She's just faking it. Without letting her finish, he led me into his room. Gee, Lily sure looked mad about this. I honestly wasn't that hurt, but Jack still gently took care of me. He even softly blew on my hand to help relieve the pain. Can't deny that I was a little moved by his gestures. To be fair, he is handsome. It isn't a stretch that people call him the Adonis of showbiz. Suddenly, I noticed him meet my gaze. Oh no, had he noticed me staring at him? Why are you looking at me in that way? You're not even blinking. Then he leaned towards my face. Was he going to kiss me again? I quickly covered my mouth with my hand, and he just shook his head and laughed. What do you think I'm gonna do, huh? I leaped up and raced out of there. Whoa, my heart has never pounded so fast. I composed myself, then went downstairs to continue working. But, well, look who's here again. Surely Lily started to boss me around anew as soon as she saw my face. The night fell, the guests started to arrive, and so the party could finally get started. And while serving everyone drinks, I kept my ear open to catch all kinds of gossiping about the play. Meanwhile, Lily was practically glued to Jack's side. She clearly wanted everyone to think that they were an item. She waved me over, but as I neared her, I noticed her stick her foot out to trip me up. Okay, fine. If she wanted me to fall, then I'd fall. So I purposely fell and spilled red wine all over her beloved bespoke dress. She looked like she was going to internally explode, but I just apologized profusely as I helped her up. Lily got the hump, then went upstairs to change clothes. With her out of the way, Jack asked me if my hand was okay. Was he really worried about me? He gently held my hand to check, then even dusted off my clothes. I gave a shy smile and was about to thank him, but he had already turned away to greet Siren, this beautiful emerging actress. Unbelievable! As I watched him lead her over to the dance floor, I felt so foolish for ever believing a guy like him was capable of having sincere feelings. I angrily left when the housekeeper insisted I fetch more chairs for the guests. Ugh! Being a maid is really miserable. You don't even have time to be upset. As I hurried to the storage room, I saw Lily standing in front of the director's study room, looking sneaky. What was she doing? I cleared my throat, which startled her and caused her to drop her phone. Oh boy, when she spun around and saw me, she sure looked mad. She ordered me to carry her dress, but I told her that I had to finish the housekeeper's task first. Be quick! Meet me by the pool! Then she stormed off. Curious, I peeked through the gap into Lucas's office and saw Mrs. Sharma in there with him. Was Lily eavesdropping on them? After that, I had to carry the train of Lily's dress around the party. Indeed, a showy girl. But her plan to punish me wasn't working, as everyone seemed to pay more attention to me than to her. I even overheard some of them whisper that I was pretty, which made Lily screw her face up in annoyance. Then when we were by the pool, she ordered me to fix her hair, but then she suddenly swung her hands out, which caused me to lose my balance. Panicked, I grabbed onto Lily's dress belt, and we both gave horrified looks as we fell head first into the pool. Lily intentionally pushed me for everyone to laugh at anyway, so fine, an eye for an eye. Seeing as Lily was like a buoyancy aid in that OTT dress, I pretended that I couldn't swim and clung to her, then pushed her head down several times. Suddenly, someone jumped into the pool and pulled me up. It was Jack. For someone who can't swim, you sure don't seem that freaked out, huh? Next time, try acting more realistic. Geez, Jack saw right through me. I shyly made an excuse to go change clothes and left. Thank goodness, that chaotic party was over. It was absolutely exhausting. Still, I couldn't stop thinking about Jack and how he always seemed to appear at the right moment. I suppose his actions really touched me. However, there's a chance that he was just using me to annoy Lily, right? She definitely wouldn't let me off this time. Speak of the devil. I forbid you from talking to Jack ever again. You've probably forgotten my warning. My dad's at home right now. Should I go talk to him? Do what you want, but I'm sure the press would love to see some unflattering photos of you. And do you remember how that one time you pretended to be sick in order to avoid participating in a charity program? You dared to sneakily take photos of me? You... It's you who went through my stuff first. I have no interest in Jack, but no way will I ever sit back and let you control me again. Okay, fine. As long as you don't hover around him, I'll leave you alone. My dad told you to bring him some tea into his working room, so better hurry up. Lucas wants to drink tea while working? Okay. I carried the tea tray upstairs and quickly hid in a room near his office. After a while, I saw Lily come up and put her ear close to the door, muttering, "Why hasn't Dad yelled at her yet? Is she flirting with him again? This fox!" Then she immediately flung the door open, thinking she's going to catch me red-handed. You see, I know that Lucas only drank coffee while working, and also he hated being disturbed. At this point, I slowly entered the room and saw him shouting at his beloved daughter. "I already said that no one could enter this room without my permission." I pretended not to understand what was going on at that time and hurriedly placed the tea tray on the table. "Sir, Mistress ordered me to bring you some tea." "Both of you get out! Now!" Lily glared at me angrily and walked out. It serves her right for trying to get me into trouble. It's crazy how fast time flies. The last day of casting was the next day already. I stayed up late to practice some more, when suddenly Lily burst in and tore up my script. "I forbid you to audition for this role. It'll be mine anyway. So just give up and save yourself the humiliation." Poof! What to do with this delusional girl? The next morning, I woke up early to get ready, but when I went to open my door, it wouldn't budge. Oh no, it was locked from the outside. Lily had to be behind this. I opened the window and peered down. It wasn't too high, so I tied my clothes together into a rope to climb down. But halfway down, a shirt suddenly ripped and I fell into someone's arms. I scrambled to my feet and turned to see Jack. He was rubbing his arm while frowning at me. "You love falling into my arms, don't you?" "I'm in a rush. I don't have time to argue with you." I grabbed my bag and was about to leave when an idea popped into my mind. "Can you take me to the studio right away?" Jack was a bit surprised at first, but he eventually agreed. I transformed while in the car. I took off my wig and brown contact lenses, put on some makeup, and voila! Beautiful Jenny was back. Jack couldn't help but gape at me in surprise. You... What's going on? But there was no time to explain. We'd already arrived at the studio. I hopped out of the car and hurried inside to audition. The director called my name at the exact moment I entered the set. I quickly regained my composure and stepped onto the stage where Mrs. Sharma was already waiting. I told myself I wouldn't let her frazzle me this time. As expected, she tried to throw me off by changing the situation and dialogue. But I took inspiration from my difficult times being Lily's maid and performed my heart out. When I finished, the whole film set started to applaud. Some of them even had teary eyes, which made me burst with happiness. After a while of discussion, the director stood up and was about to announce the results when Lily suddenly appeared. She turned on the projector and asked everyone to watch an important video. Is she trying to expose me right now? But, oh, it was a video of Mrs. Sharma talking to the director. "Jenny Sinclair is my daughter. I only want the best for her. Please accept my request." Oh my gosh. So, the rumor about my mom being a famous actress is true. It was Mrs. Sharma who chose her career over me. I fell to my knees and looked at Mrs. Sharma, whose eyes were full of guilt. Everybody took out their phones to take pictures and videos. My ears were ringing hearing thousands of questions buzzing around. Suddenly, the light went out. In the dark, a hand pulled me out of the crowd. It was Jack. He put his jacket over me and then secretly took me to the car. Jack drove for an hour to a deserted beach. The two of us sat on the sand and stared out at the sea. Suddenly, Jack turned to face me and took my hand in his. "If you've decided to become an actress, having to face the public backlash over a rumor, whether it's the truth or not, is unavoidable. No matter what everyone says, you just need to stay true to yourself and believe in the rightful things you did." I smiled slightly at Jack. It turned out that behind this scandalous bad boy image was actually a really brave guy who had been through a lot in this tough industry. Jack took me home after sunset, and as soon as I reached the front porch, I heard quarreling. So I slowly opened the door, kept my ear to the ground, and gently peeked into the living room. Oh my God, Mrs. Sharma is here? "Why did you leave her for 18 years, then come back and mess things up like that?" "You know very well that I did no such thing. You're the one who prevented me from seeing her. I've always watched Jenny from afar. There's not a single photo of her that I don't keep." "If you love her, why did you drag her into acting? You want her to have a suffocating life, always being watched by thousands of people, not having a single day of freedom like you? Meanwhile, I can provide her with a comfortable, pressure-free life." "I don't want her to be an actress either. I was the one who asked the director not to give her the lead role. I also want her to have a peaceful life, so I've tried everything in my capability to make her fail the casting." Unbelievable. So that's the truth? Dad, why did you hide Mom away from me? Do you know how much it sucked not having a mom?
"Jenny, why are you here? Just hear me out."
"I don't want to hear anything. Jenny, let me explain. Miss Sharma, acting is my passion. You abandoned me to chase yours, but now you want to forbid mine? How ridiculous! Both of you keep saying you're doing what's best for me, but have you ever asked me how I feel? I hate you both!" I ran to my room, slammed the door, then cried my eyes out until I fell asleep. When I woke up, I saw a bunch of notifications on my phone. Turns out Miss Sharma went live and publicized her side of the story. The article showed the room full of my pictures from baby to grown-up. She talked about how when she divorced my dad, even though she loved me dearly, she thought he'd be able to provide me with a better life, so she gave him full custody. So, it turns out I do have a famous actress mom, and she does love me. I guess it must have been hard for Mom, and she must have suffered a lot too. Looking at the pictures of my childhood preserved by her, tears welled up in my eyes. At that moment, my maid rushed in. "Miss, congratulations! They picked you!" The maid showed me the phone screen. In front of me was an article titled, "Jenny Sinclair chosen as the servant's leading lady." I rubbed my eyes in disbelief. This is real, right? It's real, miss. Look, even your casting clip has reached millions of likes, and the comments are full of praise for your method acting. Everyone supports you. I jumped up and hugged my maid, tears streaming down my face. Finally, I've achieved my dream. So, what now? Well, as you can see, I made it. This is the movie premiere. I'm here with my mom. She accompanied me on set and taught me a lot. Suddenly, a firm hand wrapped around my waist from behind. It was Jack. He's always playfully sweet like that. The three of us posed for photos and greeted our fans. The media these days keeps shipping me with Jack. They say we're a case of on-screen romance turning into real-life lovers. But, that's not quite right, seeing as we actually fell in love before filming even started. Oh, that person over there. Is that really my dad? Oh my, today is indeed the happiest day of my life. Having Dad's support for my passion like this means everything to me. I'm well on my way to becoming an excellent actress like my mom. Or, who knows, maybe even better. I arrived to find that he'd turned his bedroom into a mini theater, complete with scented candles and glistening fairy lights. He handed me a bowl of popcorn, and as we nibbled our way to the bottom, a carefully written letter came into sight that said,
"I've been in love with you ever since we were little kids. I've held back my feelings as I didn't want to ruin our friendship, but I can't deny them any longer. So, will you be my girlfriend?"
How can he be so gorgeous and sweet and...
Hey, dummy, you writing that cheesy stuff again? Just drop it already. Let's go prank Mr. Weasley.
"Okay, I'm coming." If only what I wrote came to life. That's my best friend since childhood, Adrian. And as you can see, I have the biggest crush on him. But he only sees me as a bro. How ironic. I'm pretty sure if I confessed my feelings to him, he'd weird it out saying it's gross and stuff. So I just wrote my dream reality down in my novel and posted it on Wattpad. I even used a pen name. I couldn't risk Adrian finding out because, help, awkward alert. Anyway, it's easier this way, as I didn't want my parents to find out either. Yup, they weren't exactly supportive of my writing career. They wanted me to become a lawyer and take over the family firm just like my dad, and his dad, and blah, blah, blah. They made me study hard so I'd get into this prestigious law school, but it was just so dull and my heart just wasn't into it. One day, as I was sipping a macchiato at my favorite coffee shop, a group of girls walked in chattering excitedly about a book by the new author, Agatha C. Huh? Did I hear them right? Curious, I approached them and politely asked to see the book and... Oh my God! It was my pen name right on the cover! I scanned through the first few pages and saw my words. Did this mean my book was published? Ouch! So all this was real! So someone must have given my book to the publisher. Then it's gotta be Mrs. Jensen. Yes! She is the most respected writer and has loads of connections in the publishing industry. And lucky me, she was my mentor. Hi, Mrs. Jensen. I'm just calling to say I'm so grateful for what you've done for me.
Cecilia, calm down. What are you talking about?
The book, of course. Mrs. Jensen, my book got published thanks to you. Right?
You're talking nonsense, young lady. I've barely started reading your book. So how could it have been published without my notice?
What? So, Mrs. Jensen didn't send it? Then, who did? What do you mean you can't disclose their identity? It's my book!
Miss, all I can say is that the person who brought it here claims to be the author of the book and chose not to reveal themselves by publishing it under a pen name. We, as the publisher, are legally bound by that, so I can't help you any further.
What on earth was he talking about? Some random person stole my book and my pen name? I needed to prove they were both mine. Aha! My Wattpad page! I tried to log into my account to show the director, but access denied? Oh, no. Someone must have messed with it. I was gonna use it to apply for a writing scholarship at college, and now it was all gone! As if that wasn't bad enough, I suddenly received an email from the writing competition I'd applied for, saying they denied my entry due to plagiarism of a Wattpad page. My Wattpad page! Ugh!
Sup, bro? What's with the King Kong face? Oh, come on. You'll be less of an ugly duckling if you smile more. See?
My gosh, could he just stop being like that for once? He made it very clear we had zero chance of being together. I got it, but he didn't have to rub it in my face like that. Fine then, he'd never have to see me again. After that, I was determined to transfer to another school by the next semester, one that would appreciate my writing talent. Somewhere like Eastwood Academy. It's a school full of literature records. Besides, I happen to know someone there. Lewis, the president of the literature club, and also an uprising star in the writer world. He's not only super talented, but incredibly nice too. He'd help me loads with my novels. But getting into that school would be tough. So, every day, with my game face on, I buried my head under stacks of books, while Adrian tried his best to distract me. One time, he told me to ditch class and go see the new Batman movie with him. I'd waited months for that movie. But no, I'd got to get my head in the game. Adrian didn't give up that easily, though. Only, right at that moment, the teacher appeared behind his back, yanked his ears, and gave him a ticket to the detention room. There went the Batman movie for him. Another time, he came up with a prank for Mr. Jones, the PE teacher who made him run 10 laps around the school for being late. But, sorry, the new Cecilia ain't got time for any of his childish stuff. So when Adrian gave me Mr. Jones's phone and told me to hide it away, I just calmly handed it back to him. As Mr. Jones returned to the teacher lounge, he saw Adrian pouring some liquid into his tumbler, and that's how Adrian got himself 2 detention tickets. After that, Adrian finally noticed that I had been acting differently.
Cece, what is up with you? You keep ignoring me. Are we not friends anymore?
Don't call me Cece. I'm still mad at you, okay? So, yeah, I want to transfer to Eastwood Academy. You know, Lewis's school.
Oh, I see. Stop the act. I know it already.
What? Did he know that I like him? Had he read my book?
You like Lewis.
Huh? Oh. Phew. But hang on. He really thought that? And was he annoyed? Interesting. Yep. In fact, he asked me out to dinner this Saturday.
Really? Okay then. I'll go with you. Can't trust this guy.
And so, Adrian tagged along. He kept complaining about how I dressed up all pretty for Lewis, and how he had the nerve to be late. So, this is what he's like when he's jealous? Kinda cute, though. As Lewis arrived, he gave me a big hug, and I could feel Adrian's glare behind my back. I sat close to Lewis and giggled at everything he said. He immediately got what I was trying to do, so he acted along, putting his arm around my shoulder and slightly stroking my hair. At one point, I even helped Lewis take a fallen eyelash out. And oh boy, Adrian couldn't help but lunge forward to separate us. Right at that moment, I heard a familiar voice from behind.
Cecilia? And who are these young men? Lewis?
Oh, hi, Mrs. Jensen. What a small world. You know Lewis, too? She didn't answer my question. Instead, she gave me a stern look, then dragged me outside.
Cecilia, what are you doing with that no-good traitor?
You mean Lewis?
Who else? He was heavily criticized and boycotted by the whole writers' community. I strongly suggest you give him a wide berth.
Oh my. I had no idea Lewis had such a bad reputation. He was always so kind to me. Unless this was just an act because he wanted something. Like my novel. What if he was the one who stole it? This was not good. I rushed back to my table, quickly said goodbye to Adrian, then dragged Louis away. Did you or did you not steal my book?
What? No! Did Mrs. Jensen tell you that?
Turns out, he used to be Mrs. Jensen's brightest mentee. Then he fell in love with her daughter Demi, and they started dating behind her back. But then out of the blue, Demi suddenly broke up with him. Heartbroken, he cut all ties with her and her mom. But Mrs. Jensen took offense at this and had been on his back ever since. Gosh, now my head was spinning. I had no idea who to trust.
Come to think of it, back in my mentee months, I also lost one of my manuscripts. I sort of ran into a dead end with that one, so I didn't do any digging, but it can't be a coincidence, right? It must have been Mrs. Jensen who stole them.
No way! She's an incredible writer. Why would she do something like that?
There's no better explanation for this. Don't worry. I've got a plan to expose her for the stinking thief she is.
He then called the publisher, pretending to be some big-shot producer, and asked them to arrange a meeting with the author of my stolen book, as he'd like to produce a high-budget movie based on it. Brilliant, isn't it? We arrived at the rendezvous in awesome disguises and waited for this to play out. Our tension rose as the footsteps got closer. And then, standing at the door was, well, Mrs. Jensen. How could you? I trusted you!
Cecilia? What's going on? Oh, drop the act. There's no movie. We only planned this trap to expose you for the book thief you are.
Mrs. Jensen persistently denied our accusations and claimed she was only here because her daughter arranged a big surprise for her. Then Louis and Mrs. Jensen started quarreling with each other and it all got messy. Stop! Both of you, please just stop!
Demi, please explain yourself.
It was me, okay? I stole your book, Cecilia. I saw it on Mom's desk. I'm so sorry.
I don't understand. You don't need to steal someone else's hard work. You already are an excellent writer.
No, Mom, I'm not. I've tried so hard to meet your expectations, but I just can't. I didn't want to disappoint you, so I stole your mentee's work, including yours, Louis. I was so ashamed of myself I couldn't face you after that. I'm so sorry. Louis let out a long sigh, then pulled Demi in for a hug and comforted her. Right at that moment, Adrian barged in and grabbed Louis's collar.
You jerk! You were flirting with Cecilia a day ago, and now you're canoodling with another girl right in front of her?
Adrian, stop! It's not what you think. Then I led him out of the restaurant. Turns out he saw me leaving the house with Louis looking all weird, so he decided to follow us here. The truth is, I don't have a crush on Louis. I was just trying to see if you think of me as more than just a friend.
Well, I do like you. Like, a lot. But I don't want to risk our friendship. I can't bear the thought of not having you in my life, so I figured it'd be best to treat you as one of the guys.
Guess what? I like you too, idiot. So, what do you say?
Yeah, let's give it a shot. But you have to promise me if things don't work out, we'll still be friends, okay?
Promise. Then we pinky swore just like when we were little kids. Only this time, he pulled me in for the best kiss ever. Finally, my book's mine again. And guess what? It has just become the #1 bestseller novel according to the New York Times. Ah! This calls for a celebration. Adrian, will you help me with the guest list for the party?
Sure, sweetie. Who do you want to invite?
Now, let's see. There's my parents, who were so impressed with my independent work that they're now letting me follow my writing dreams. There's also Louis and Demi. Aw, they make such a cute couple. Demi decided to start over with her writing career, this time without the pressure from her mom. And with Louis's help, she's got a bright future ahead. And last but not least, Mrs. Jensen, who's now fully supportive of her daughter's career and her relationship with Louis. I guess it's a happy ending for both my novel, me, and everyone I care about.
I'd only just arrived at school, yet I could tell something was up. Dude, what's with all the fuss? Did Carl do something crazy again? Look at this. Jeez, gross. Sorry, wrong direction. This way. Here you go, Miss Stewart, the new principal of our school. In front of me was a stern-looking woman who exuded a terrifying aura. Ooh. Well, that was unexpected, as we all assumed that Mr. Smith would take the lead because he'd been serving as school vice principal for pretty much forever. Suddenly, everyone's phone vibrated. Why the stern face? She looks so angry at the world. Is she allergic to our skin? Every skirt is too short, lol. No dance party this year? Unbelievable. Is she a principal or a jailer? Warning you guys, she knows our secret smoking place. Jeez, look at all those faces pinned to their mobile phones. The gossip mongers. Over the next few days, rumors about our new principal seemed to be everywhere. Info about her seemed more sought after than Imagine Dragons tickets. Also, from day one of the principal's arrival here, a series of bizarre stories began to circulate. One day I was walking into class and heard the most ridiculous story in the world. My school was haunted. Idiots. I quietly crept under the table, then suddenly poked my head up and shouted, "Boo!" which caused all my friends to jump in fear. Haha, losers. All that spook stuff is nonsense. You don't believe it, huh? Yet Stacy saw it. Oh no. Stacy? I didn't know they dragged my crush into all these silly gossip things. She's usually a smart girl. Not sure what had gotten into her. After that, Stacy lowered her voice and started talking passionately about her chance encounter with a silhouette that appeared in front of the principal's office. But worst of all, before she could get a closer look at it, it vanished. It was probably just the security guard. Nah, when I left, I still saw him dozing off in his room. He even checked the camera and saw Stacy just standing and saying hello, even though nobody was there. Creepy, right? Then the story went further, when someone claimed that the new principal was a witch and was bringing evil forces to the school. Oh my God, Stacy. I needed to pull her out of this mess of nonsense right now. But no matter what I said, she insisted. I saw it with my own eyes. What if she really is capable of dark magic? Oh, come on. We're not kids anymore, Stace. Evil forces, witches, demons, they aren't real. But it's you who might get in trouble when the principal starts investigating who's spreading the rumor. Josh, it's driving me crazy. I need to confirm what I saw. But I'm scared. Can you come with me, please? I hesitated for a moment, then nodded. Okay, back gate, 10 p.m. tonight. Let's just get it over with. Plus, it'd be a great chance to impress my crush, isn't it? That night, I arrived at our meeting point early and waited around. It was freezing, and not gonna lie, I got goosebumps. Okay, calm down, Josh. Ghosts were just tricks of the mind, and it's time to show my future girlfriend how tough I am. As I was deep in my thoughts, a hand suddenly touched my shoulder. Jesus, Stacy! Do you know what time it is? Oh, sorry, I'm a bit late. Did I scare you? Of course not. Let's get inside and end this obsession of yours. But how are we supposed to get in? Stacy pointed at a big hole in the school's fence that was hidden by a bush. We then carefully sneaked through it and successfully avoided the security guard. Piece of cake. Inside, the whole school corridor was pitch black, and the streetlight shone from the glass windows. The scenario looked pretty much like a horror movie, but there was nothing to fear, right? I used a flashlight to guide Stacy to the principal's office, when suddenly a loud screech sound made my heart want to stop. Stacy clung to me in fear. Relax, I think it's just the sound of the speakers crackling. Are you scared, Stace? No, let's just go. But then, as soon as the noise stopped, another creepy sound started up. Footsteps. Had the security guard spotted the two of us already? I turned around and there was nothing but an empty space. Just like that, we continued walking, and they walked too. And when we stopped, they stopped. Then as soon as the footsteps began to rush towards us, I grabbed Stacy's hand and ran as fast as I could to the principal's office and slammed shut the door. Listen, Stacy, the footsteps were probably from the security guard. You see, clearly, we're the only ones here, so stop believing in these things, okay? I just finished talking when suddenly the door burst open, and I could see a motionless figure standing there. That's him! Holy mother. I was so scared that I closed my eyes and grabbed onto Stacy. Then when I opened my eyes, the shadow was moving towards us. Terrified, I rushed to the door to escape and, bang! Both me and the ghost fell. Mike, are you okay? Mike? The three of us sat awkwardly on the sidewalk outside the school. I didn't need the chilly wind to make my heart feel frozen. As it turned out, Stacy already had a boyfriend, and that boyfriend was none other than Mike, my best friend. Ugh, so much for me wasting my time playing hero. And if you're wondering why Mike was here, the answer was to help Stacy put on this phantom play. That's right. Both the crackling and the footstep sounds were all made by him. Hang on, why did she make up this ghost story thing? Even prepared a whole play for me and the others to acknowledge it? Stacy explained that it was only because the new principal was too harsh, creating strict rules and making it difficult for the students. Huh? But I don't think any of these rules affect her much. I mean, Stacy had always been a model student anyway. So why did she have to take it to this extent? I asked, but Stacy just ignored me and asked me to keep it a secret. In the following days, people kept questioning me on my late-night expedition. At first, I just kept quiet because I didn't want to get involved in annoying gossip and to be reminded of how my best friend turned out to be my love rival. However, rumors about the haunted school spread quickly and reached the press. Fear swallowed the school. A few students even transferred to another one because they were so scared. Although I wasn't a fan of the new principal's strict rules, what Stacy did had gone too far. One day, I was about to find her to figure this out when I saw her walking alone down the exit stairs. Stacy, I know you're the principal's daughter and the admin of the spooky group chat that has been on the rise recently. What? Stacy's the principal's daughter? Unbelievable. And wasn't that person Mr. Smith, the vice principal? Perhaps we're after one same thing. Don't you want your mom to work elsewhere too? Right? But your method doesn't seem to be working so well. So what do you suggest? There is an easier way, that is, hand me your mother's seal. I will take care of this. That's too dangerous. How can I trust you? Now that we're on the same boat, you probably don't want your mother to know what you've done behind your back, do you? As soon as Mr. Smith left, I immediately ran to Stacy. No, you can't do that. You don't even know him personally. Be careful. But Stacy insisted on doing it on her own. She said that since her father passed away, she'd grown tired of her mother's rules. School was the only place she used to feel free. But now, that also been ruined for her. I can't live 24/7 under my mother's containment. Do you understand? Well, it's true that being a teacher's child must be stressful enough already. Not to mention being the child of a strict principal. That would surely be even more exhausting. But conspiring with Mr. Smith was a step too far, right? And what will be, will be. A few days later, a ton of messages regarding the principal faking test scores to improve the school's ranking broke out. And of course, she would be subject to disciplinary procedures and may have to quit her job forever for violating professional ethics. I looked over at Stacy. Her face darkened and suddenly she darted out of the classroom. I chased after her and looked everywhere for her, but she was nowhere to be found, until I heard a sobbing sound coming from the abandoned canteen. Thank goodness, there she was. Seeing me, Stacy burst into tears and poured her heart out. She could not have foreseen the consequences of her actions, and naively let Mr. Smith take advantage of her and created all this. Stace, I think it's best to tell your mom the truth. There's still time to fix this, quick, before it's too late. She wiped her tears and gave me a hug, then agreed to go find her mom. Mom, I'm sorry. I started the rumors and I conspired with Mr. Smith to help ruin your career. I thought the principal was going to go ballistic, but then to my surprise, she came forward and pulled Stacy into her arms. I know things have been tough since your father was no longer with us. I've just been so worried about you making the wrong choices and going down the wrong path that I started to be stricter on you. I love you and never meant to put this much pressure on you. I'm sorry. Please forgive Stacy. She never meant to hurt you, and she feels terrible about it. Everything's fine. Thank you very much, Josh, for telling me about this. Huh? You already know everything? Yeah, I was so worried that you would be taken advantage of, so I told her about the conversation you had with the vice principal. As for the rumor that the principal had to quit her job, it was me who spread it. I mean, that's how Stacy realized what she did was outrageous and could have big consequences, right? Although her mom forgave her, Stacy was still nervous because she'd given Mr. Smith her mother's seal. It's okay, dear. What you did accidentally helped me to get evidence of his embezzlement by impersonating me. His misconduct will soon be handled. It's all good now. My work here was done, I fixed things with Stacy and her mom. But most importantly of all, I proved that the school's not haunted. So what's next? Well, Stacy must have been so moved by my heroic actions and started developing feelings for me. As she broke up with Mike, not long after that, then asked me out. But he's my best friend, and there's no way I'm making him sad over a girl, so I turned her down. Besides, her mischievous side is kind of terrifying. Girls are dangerous.
Mom, come here and see what Agnes has done to my dress. Oh no, what now? Look at this, Mom. It's crumpled. This is all your fault. I told you that this requires hand washing. That means by hand. Oh, don't cry, honey. I'll buy you a new one. You can give that one to Agnes. It's yours now. New dress. Happy, huh? Can we go right now, Mom? Then let's have pizza after that. I'm so tired of Agnes's pretentious fine dining dishes. Of course, honey. Yeah, I know. That sure looked like a scene from Cinderella, right? Only stuff like that was a daily occurrence in this house. If I was adopted, then it'd be easier to understand why Mom favored my sister over me. But nope, I am also her actual daughter. Growing up with Jenna as my big sister was a nightmare. She's always been the golden child, while I was treated like a thorn in their side. If something broke, then I got the blame. When Jenna stole my things, then Mom just said I should be flattered. Then there were the birthday parties. Over the years, Jenna had it all. Fairy-themed ones, magicians, a petting zoo, and cupcake towers. As for me, all I ever got was a card with a wrinkled $20 note in it. It was the same thing with studying. If she broke her string of D's with a C, Mom rewarded her with jewelry and makeup. Me? Just one C out of usual straight A's, and Mom'd say, "Oh, why did I even get my hopes up?" Sometimes I do wonder if all this shabbiness is because Jenna's always been pretty and popular. She's basically a mini-me version of Mom. While I guess I'm more reserved, and I don't really look like Mom. Anyways, despite living in a house full of darkness and unfairness, I still have my own passion, which is culinary. To be honest, I'm addicted to those TV cooking shows and always try to find ways to follow them. My dream is to become a head chef in a 5-star restaurant. At school, Jenna always blanks me. She hangs out with this group of girls who are all obsessed with the same things she is, such as makeup, trendy clothes, and TikTok. Jenna does look gorgeous, so it's not surprising that boys usually buzz around her in the hope of catching her attention. Anyway, forget Jenna, as I have my best friend Ruth right here. Girl, I swear to God, if I were you, I'd tear up some of her clothes just for my own relief. Nice idea, I said while playing with my tray of food as usual. It looks so good. Very appetizing. Startled, I looked up to find a pair of dazzling eyes staring back at me. Hi, I'm Roy. That's very neat-handed of you. Before I could say anything, he winked and turned away to his table. That was close, or else he would have seen my tomato-red face. Looks like someone's on the hot guy's radar. Shut up. He was just being friendly. But no, that night when I got home, Roy in fact did message me. And we had a really long chat. He even asked me to join him for lunch the next day. Yay! This was so exciting. I'd entered the canteen to find Roy was already sitting there waiting for me, but I quickly spotted Jenna's group passing by, and the last thing I need is trouble from my evil sister. So I was actually thinking of walking away, but right at that moment, Roy grinned and waved over at me. OMG, that hot boy over there is waving at you, Jen. A girl flattered Jenna before I could even answer Roy. Jenna quickly fixed her hair, then smiled awkwardly at him, but he walked straight past her and over to me. Here. For you. What kind of first-class dishes do we have today? I smiled at Roy and had no choice but to sit down with him, ignoring Jenna's furious glare. Despite the awkward Jenna situation, lunch with Roy was amazing. We started hanging out loads more after that. He's cute, funny, and very supportive towards my culinary dreams. Then one day, Roy handed me a cupcake with a frosted heart on it and asked me to be his girlfriend. Yippee! This was so exciting! So, of course I agreed, but only on the condition that we kept our relationship low-key. I'd never had anything of my own before, so if my mom and sister didn't know about us, then they couldn't tarnish it, right? Falling in love is a magical thing. I was just so happy and full of life all of the time. Even doing chores for Mom and Jenna didn't dampen my mood. I thought you were only into cooking. So what, you like laundry now? Pfft, don't tell me you want to be a fashion designer next. I ignored her and carried on with what I was doing. Actually, I ignored all of Mom and Jenna's mocking jibes. The truth was, I was way too happy to let them bother me anymore. Soon, Jenna's 17th birthday party arrived, and this time she insisted on having it at this trendy restaurant in town. All of our relatives and her friends were invited, but I decided not to go. It's not like anyone wanted me there anyway, so I didn't think it'd matter. But to my surprise, on the day of the party, Jenna knocked on my bedroom door and begged me to come. Please, Agnes, I want you there on my special day. It won't be the same without you. Then she passed me a bag and left. I opened it, and inside was the most beautiful dress. Okay, so Jenna being nice was strange, but I must admit it felt good to feel wanted for once. So it looks like I was going to the ball. Wow, the party was insane. I'm talking banners, balloons, a whole booth devoted to presents, a menu only serving Jenna's favorite foods. I was sipping my drink, feeling awkward, when Jenna addressed the room. Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to my 17th birthday party. Now, there's a very special guest here that I'd like to introduce to you all. It's my new boyfriend, Roy. I watched with horror as Roy appeared out of the crowd and let Jenna link arms with him. Huh? What? Why was my boyfriend with my sister? I glared straight at him, but he couldn't meet my gaze. This was terrible. I felt like I couldn't breathe. Panicked, I rushed outside to get some air. Everything of yours will soon be mine, no matter how well you hide it. I turned to see that Jenna was standing there, a huge smirk on her face. How could she be this shameless? I shoved past her and went to find Mom. She was shouting at the waiter to bring out more drinks. I went up to her and spluttered out what Jenna had done and how upset I was. Jeez, stop making such a fuss about it. Jenna's your sister, so just be happy for her. Besides, Roy is far more suited to her than you. Ugh, that's it. I can't stand this selfish family anymore. I'm leaving. Yeah, go. Disappear just like your no-good father did. That night I showed up at Ruth's house with a bag of my stuff and a teary face. But I knew this could only be temporary, so I still looked around for somewhere else to stay. And eventually I applied for a job as a grocery cashier at a 24/7 gas station. Well, at least I had shelter. One night, a drunk man walked in. He didn't look so good. Nothing could lighten a person's mood better than great food, right? The store was quiet, so I took some of the ingredients available and used them to prepare a delicious-looking dish for him. Thank you so much, sweetie. I'm Keith. You have a culinary talent. If you want a better opportunity, come find me. Before I could thank him, he left. Let's see. Bar owner? I wasn't old enough to work in a bar, though. I spent the next month juggling school with work, life, and oh boy, was it exhausting. But when I asked for my salary, my boss laughed in my face, saying that since I was only 16, he could only pay me for far less hours than I'd worked? What? That wasn't fair. I worked my butt off on sometimes 12-hour-long shifts. But when I complained, he threatened to report me for stealing food from the store. Ugh, I'd only taken expired food that couldn't be sold anyway. Feeling bummed out, I just quit, and then left. I wandered around the street for a while, then looked up and found myself standing in front of that man's bar. Well, I had nowhere else to go, so I stepped inside and there was Keith, but, he looked so different. Other than this bar, I also own a fine dining restaurant uptown. If you want, I'd love to train you to become a chef there. Whoa, this was so amazing that I cried with joy. In order to be able to stay overnight at the restaurant, I told him that my parents had passed away and I'd run away from the orphanage. And the man agreed without questioning me twice. Time passed by, and you know what? I loved working at the restaurant. As for Keith, he's such a kind-hearted man. We grew so close, and he became like a father to me. I guess we were two lonely people who helped each other. So it made sense when he asked to adopt me. Then one busy evening, I was taking food to a table, but then I stopped dead. Sitting there were Jenna and Roy. On seeing me, Jenna sneered out, "Oh, you work here? Now that explains why my appetizers were gross." Roy looked embarrassed and begged her to be quiet, which only made her worse. Then seeing what was going on, Alistair, the restaurant supervisor, came to my defense. But it only made Jenna even more heated. "Isn't the customer always king? Why are you defending that dumb girl?" "Miss, this is a fine dining restaurant. please mind your manners. Agnes here is not only a very talented chef, but she's the owner's daughter, which makes her my boss. So I think I'm within my rights to defend my superiors." Jenna rolled her eyes at me, then walked away in anger, not forgetting to reply, "Just you wait, Agnes." Then, seeing my glum face, Alistair invited me out for ice cream after work. Keith happily told us to go and said he'd close the restaurant. As I was licking my ice cream, I noticed people around us shout, "Fire! Fire!" So I pulled Alistair's hand and ran after them. As the flames came into view, my heart sank when I realized they were coming from... It was the restaurant. Oh no, Keith was still in there. Without giving it a second thought, I charged in there to find him. It was so smoky and impossible to see, but I couldn't give up. Suddenly, I started to go dizzy and lightheaded. Then an arm grabbed me and pulled me out. It was Alistair, and standing next to him was... Keith. Phew. A few days later, the police called Keith. They'd found the culprit who started the fire. As soon as I walked into the police station, I couldn't believe my eyes. It was Jenna. But most surprisingly, when Keith saw my mom, they both turned pale and gave astonished looks. Huh? Did they know each other? So yeah, turns out Keith's mine and Jenna's actual father. When Dad was young, he hadn't built his career but just spent all day in the kitchen. So he was always despised and scolded by my mom. In the end, he couldn't take her belittling of him anymore, so he left. Only unbeknown to him, Mom was pregnant with me at the time. So the story she said about Dad running off with his mistress was all lies. I got it now. She despised me because I took after my dad, not her. As soon as Jenna realized he was our dad and he was rich, she put on her Little Miss Sweet act and begged for him to be her dad again. But he just gave her a stern look and said, "That fire of yours could have killed us all. Now you have to live with that." Then he took my arm and led me out of there. I always believed my life would one day be better, but I never imagined it'd be as good as this. I now have an amazing dad, a job I'm passionate about, and people who generally care about me by my side. It just goes to show that everything works out perfectly in the end.
Jody and I dragged our aching feet on the hallway after the whole day searching every corner of this mall. Oh, my legs are toast. I don't think I can walk further than this. Who makes an ad without specifying an official store? I can't believe we've walked to 10 stores and we can't find her. Let's try this last store. If she isn't here, then we get an Uber and go home. We walked into the store holding the last string of hope, and there she was, sitting majestic on the shelf. We ran up to the shelf and Jody, being Jody, started to cry. She's so beautiful! We finally found her! The baby Stella doll collection! We quickly brought Stella to the cashier, then walked out of the store like world champions holding a trophy, knowing everyone was staring at us like we were crazy, as if we care. Hi, I'm Leah, and here's my bestie, Jody. I've known her all my life. We've grown up together in the same neighborhood. As long as Jody and I are together, nothing matters whatever shenanigans we were up to. Today, we just got the perfect doll to complete our doll collection. That was all that mattered. It's not easy to find someone sharing our weird hobbies, right? Jody is the queen bee of everything, and she has always pushed me to be a better version of myself. Like when she became the swim team captain and always encouraged me to join the team, and it turned out that I actually loved swimming. The next day, we came to the pool to see Dee, our team member, doing a perfect backstroke. Good job, Dee. Then he gathered us and announced the upcoming synchronized swimming competition. And naturally, Jody secured one position and the other was also up to her. Sir, that's easy. It's Lee. I know you two are joined at the hip, but it needs more than that. With all due respect, sir, believe me, Lee is perfect for this position. It's a synchronized duet. Who else can you trust to be in sync with me other than my best friend? I was happy that Jody had so much confidence in me, but also anxious. I've never been in any nationals before, but it's a great opportunity, and I never took it for granted. I'm gonna try my best to prove my worth. So, instead of joining Jody's family on a skiing trip, I stayed behind to practice in the town's swimming pool in the summer. One day while resting, I suddenly felt water splash on me. Then I saw the most beautiful boy on earth. He was coming out of the pool, and it felt like the sun was radiating on his skin. I watched him climb up the lifeguard ladder and put on a name tag that read Evan. Okay, it seemed like I got my future husband's name. And now it's time to show what his wife was capable of. Then I showed off my best moves, but he barely looked at me. So I knew just what I needed to do. Help! Help! I'm drowning! Right at that moment, Evan dashed into the pool and rescued me like a brave knight. You saved me! Wow, you're so strong! And you are so pretty. And then he winked at me. Ho ho ho, I guess I drowned again in those eyes. From that day, I started going to the pool every day. Evan always waved at me, but that was all. He never made a move to come near me again. I couldn't fake drowning every day at the pool, so I settled for the friendly waves. Finally, Jody was back from the holiday. So tell me everything about the mystery lifeguard. He was so gorgeous, but I'm not sure about him. He hasn't asked for my number yet. You should have walked up that ladder and said, "Hey, mister, do you like me or not? Because time is running out." That's definitely what you would do. Exactly. Like yesterday, I was at the mall with my mom and I saw a boy, Mark, at the ice cream stand. He was drop-dead gorgeous. I walked straight up to him, took his phone, put my number in it, and told him to call me. And he did that night. Whoa. Would that work with Evan? Only one way to find out. The next day, I mustered my courage and marched straight up to Evan.
Hi, Lee, right?
Yes. How are you doing?
Good. Hey, let's go up the lifeguard's chair. There's shade there.
He offered his hand to help me go up there.
Actually, I wanted to talk to you sooner, but it's kinda super busy here the past few days. You know.
Oh, that's it. I sat next to Evan as he paid close attention to everything happening in the pool. We talked, we laughed, and I even felt his fingers brush over mine. Talking with him was so fun that I forgot the mission today. Ask his number. It's all right. We had loads of time for this. But all that went away when I got to the pool the next day, and he wasn't there for the days after. There was still no sign of him. He came and went just like a fever dream, leaving me aching in a quick fever of first love. Well, his loss. He had all summer to ask you out, and he didn't. Good riddance.
Yeah, but I should have just asked him out like you suggested.
Come on, forget about him. Now, let's focus on an important issue. My birthday. As always, it's going to be the biggest event before school resumes. And you know what? Mark's going to be my escort.
Ooh, dreamy Mark is coming. Can't wait to meet him. Just like Jody described, her parents spared no expense. Her party was packed with all friends at school and some of her social circles that I've never seen before. But in the middle of them was, for a second, it felt like I was dreaming, like I'd spent the entire summer dreaming of this face. Evan was here in flesh and blood. I was about to confront him, then,
"You came! Lee, meet Mark. Mark, it's Lee, my bestie."
What? My head was spinning. So Evan was also the Mark guy Jody had been talking about the whole summer? How could it be? When Jody spared herself to other guests, I dragged him to the corner. "Evan, what are you doing here after disappearing all this time? And Mark? What's with the name?" Actually, my name is Mark. The pool was too cheap to make a new name tag for me, so they made me wear an old one for a former employer. And I just took the lifeguard job in the summer. Things just got a little hectic, so I forgot to tell you. I never planned to hurt a beautiful girl like you.
What? No! You don't get to flirt with me anymore.
Besties like the same guy. How could it be more typical of dramas? No, sisters first. Jody was with him, so I'd better stay away. That's right, there's no other way. With the decision having been made, I tried to hold my aching heart to sleep. Until the next day at school. I was grabbing things from my locker when someone startled me. "Hey, Lee, it's great to see you again."
"Evan? Mark? Why are you here?"
"I go here now. Now I could swim in your beautiful eyes every day. See you around, gorgeous."
That's not good. Lee? What's going on? Why was Mark looking at you like that?
Oh, screw. She saw that? That's it. It's better that she heard it from me and not from someone else. I took her to a quiet spot and explained everything to her. The look on her face was not reassuring.
So, are you saying that Mark is Evan, the lifeguard? Then let's go to the pool to check.
I already told you he doesn't work there anymore. We can ask Mark directly instead.
Excuse me? Asking him? Sorry, I'm not like you to ask this kind of question.
What does that mean?
I just see you're making excuses to steal my boyfriend. Stop being Delulu.
What? Talking about Delulu, Mark is not your boyfriend yet. Let's see who can win him.
Challenge accepted, bestie.
I couldn't believe in my ears. Jody had been thinking of me like that all this time? I came to school the next day to see Jody and her other friends marching in the hall.
Mark, let this smile always on your face, 'cause when you smile, the whole world stops and stares for a while.
Classic Jody. But flashy things don't shine. Then I approached them and faked being fainted to fall into Mark's embrace. And his gallant caught me before knowing what happened. Aw, you saved me again. How can I pay you back, my love? I could see the fire burning in Jody's eyes. At lunch, I went to the canteen with Mark. I could feel the distance of the time wore away. But it's nice to talk to Mark/Evan again. But Jody, out of nowhere, sat down beside him.
Hi, Mark. And Lee? Watch out your food, Mark. Do you know one time she was so hungry that she stole her date's food while he was in the restroom? So, do you know, Judy used to devour the whole turkey on Thanksgiving? She just peed into the pool last week. You know that? Hey, it's just an accident. And you bought your mom's Gucci bag and blamed it on your brother. Not as interesting as you still needing your mom to sing a lullaby every night.
Geez, I wish American presidential elections could be as hot as girl fights.
Too frustrated, I blurted out every secret we kept together since we were kids, until teachers stopped us. We had to clean every single corner of the pool as punishment. Let me help you, Jody. Thank you, bestie.
Yeah, bestie my butt.
And just like that, the Third World War continued. The whole school started whistling about the famous friend duo of the school turning to bark at each other. Go ask your queen bee first. One day, Mark came to find me, and we were talking for a while.
I'm sorry. I think I need to be held accountable for what is happening between you and Jody.
No, it's not your fault. Just some girl stuff, you know? Then from nowhere, Jody stormed in. It's you! You tore up my swimming presentation draft to the coach, right?
What gibberish are you talking about?
The draft was just right there on this table, but when you came, it disappeared. We found this near your locker.
What was it?
It's a piece of paper from Jody's draft? I'd never seen it before, let alone tore it. I saw with my own eyes. Don't you dare try to deny it.
But I'm with Mark all this time. I can't do this. I just came, so I'm not sure.
Enough with your lies. You'll no longer be accepted in our team. Get out!
What? You can't. Don't forget I'm your partner in the upcoming competition.
Of course I can. I'm the team captain, and Dee will be my partner.
Everything was happening so fast. My head was spinning. What's going on? I've never done such things. But Mark? Why didn't Mark defend me when he knew I was innocent? Was everything worth fighting for that guy? Now I felt like I lost everything. My best friend, my swimming spot. When it's already bad, Mom knocked my room with the most terrible news. Hey, what's going on with you and Jody?
Nothing.
Nothing? So why is she burning your dolls?
What?
I looked through the window to see her burning our collection. I immediately ran to her house.
Jody, no, please.
She didn't. She let it all burn. That was it. Our friendship was burnt to ashes like our dolls. A few days later, Jody and Mark became official. Thanksgiving came, but I felt lonelier than ever. Not because Mark chose Jody, but our dying friendship. So I came to the swimming pool in town. While letting myself float on the water, I heard a very familiar voice. Lee, is that you? Oh my god, I hoped I would bump into you here.
Don't even speak to me, you devil.
Did I do something wrong to you?
You ask? You forgot what you've done to me a few days ago?
But I was in Switzerland until yesterday.
Turns out he went to a military school in Switzerland and only returned home on holidays. And Mark was actually Evan's twin. So I'd been fooled all this time? The news hit me with the utmost shock. All the suppressed emotions were blurted out with the tears. Evan pulled me in his embrace and listened to every word.
I'm sorry my brother must have been messing with you. I'll handle this, I promise.
A few days later, Evan asked me to go to the cafe near school to talk about the truth he learned. We stepped inside to see Jody sitting here with her new boyfriend and new best friend. I was about to leave, but Evan pulled me back.
Trust me, will you?
Then he held my hands and walked me towards them. Upon seeing Evan, Jody couldn't hide her shock. Huh? You look like my boyfriend.
Yes, I'm his twin brother. Right, Dee?
You know her too?
She is our sister. Well, half-sister. We have different last names.
Then Evan told everything. But you know what was new?
And here is your presentation, Jody. It's my sister who hid it, not Lee. I gave you the chance to come clean, but you refused it. I'm disappointed, Dee.
But why blaming me? Because it's always been you. Jody will always choose you just because you're her best friend. How fair is it? I'm also a good swimmer, you know. So at Jody's birthday party, she overheard Mark talking with me. That's when an idea came to her. She asked Mark to help her cause a rift between me and Jody so that she would replace me to become Jody's partner in the swimming competition. So you ruined our friendship for this? Then Jody ran out of the cafeteria. It felt good that I'd been vindicated, but it hurt that breaking our friendship was so easy. The next few days were not getting any better. Jody was calling nonstop to apologize, but I wasn't ready to listen to her. One day I heard Jody and Mark talking.
I apologized for everything. My sister wanted a spot on the team, so I just want to help. But I thought by doing that I could know what your feelings are if there's someone else like me, because from the beginning I already fall for you.
I don't know what is real or not real anymore, Mark, but I can't forgive you. At least now. I'm sorry, but whatever happened between us is over.
Things were messed up for Jody as well.
The next day, I answered the door to see Evan, Mark, and Dee there.
We apologize for what happened. We didn't think clear before doing that.
I let jealousy take over me. I'm sorry for things going bad between you and Jody. It's no use being mad this time, at least. Everything was settled in some ways.
I am really sorry about my messy family.
Please, I heard enough sorry these days.
So how about that? I should have done this long ago. Do you want to get ice cream together sometime?
I thought you'd never ask. And, Lee, I have decided to leave the team. I can't be there after all of this. But how about Jody? I ran to the school gym, knowing the chaos that was going already.
Look at this mess you girls have made. How are you supposed to join the competition without a partner?
I'm sorry. When the coach left, she jumped into the water and let it take over her. So I joined her.
Hey, I can be your partner.
Lee? No, I don't deserve it. I was stupid. I burnt our dolls and I threw away our friendship.
Yeah, you were pretty stupid. And you hurt me. But it's okay. I'm here because you need me. And regardless of anything, I'm always going to be there when you need me.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. We both learned the lessons of being calm before saying anything regretful. And now, let's win this thing.
Yes, with you, bestie, I can always win.
Do you know what it feels like to live in a splendidly luxurious castle, wearing extravagant dresses, indulging in exquisite dishes, and always having servants take care of you? Well, actually, I don't really know either. I'm just a little maid who's fortunate enough to be friends with Princess Anne. Oh, by the way, my name is Diana, and I was born in the palace of a small European kingdom. Sounds like a fairy tale, doesn't it? Well, I don't exactly live a fairy tale life. I'm only here because of my mother, Stella. She had devoted her entire life to serve the queen, so in return, I was allowed to live in the castle. And when I grew up, I became a servant to Princess Anne, who was just a few ages older than me, so we immediately hit it off. Ironically, though, I'm not quite cut out to be a servant. I'm a bit, maybe very clumsy, and I tend to be less helpful than I actually should. When all is quiet, it's likely that I've just hidden myself away in the library, lost in its endless sea of books. It would be more fun if Anne was just as happy to spend time in the library as me, but she doesn't care much for reading or studying. She said it makes you age like crazy. But still, she must attend her mandatory classes, by the Queen's order, of course, although she'd much better enjoy cooking, cleaning, and decorating. So whenever there weren't eyes on us, Anne and I would help each other out. I would sneak into her classes, listen to the tutor attentively so I could help her with assignments later. In return, she'd help me with the palace's errands. Anne was how I imagined having a sister is like. We just got each other's back. I knew the real Anne. I supported her passion for baking, even when her own mother forbade her, and I was the only one who knew about her big crush on Count Harold, who often came bearing tributes from the people. Anne was so kind that she always gave me plenty of good food to share with Mom and other maids. But Mom wasn't too thrilled about this. For some reason, she was always anxious seeing how close me and Anne were. Don't forget your place, Diana. Princess Anne is still royalty, and you're just a little maid. Be sure you never cross the line with her. She's just trying to help us, Mom. Don't worry, I'll be careful. Then one day, Anne found a beautiful vintage dress from her closet and convinced me to try it on. I agreed, and once I stepped out of the changing screen, Anne was amazed. See, you'd make such a gorgeous princess. Did I ever tell you you remind me so much of my aunt, the late Queen Mary? I don't have much memories of her, but I've seen her picture in the royal family tree, and you very much share the same aura with her. I wish, Anne, but if I were a princess, I would have people do whatever I want. Like, fetch me my robes, servant, and when you're finished, my toes could use a salt bath. We were just messing around when Mom came storming in. Diana, how dare you desecrate the princess? I told you not to cross the... She didn't finish her words, but fell to the ground, holding her chest in pain. I rushed over to her as Anne ran to the hallway looking for help. Mom! Diana, I need to tell you something. No, Mom, save your strength. The doctor will be here any minute now. No, Diana, you listen to me. I've been hiding the truth from you your entire life. It's time you learn. What? What do you mean? I'm not your birth mother, Diana. Just find my safe, okay? The answers are there. And don't tell anyone. She took one last breath before closing her eyes. The doctors rushed in, but it was too late. She had a heart attack with a pre-existing heart condition, so she didn't stand a chance. I spent the next week doing nothing except grieving my mother's passing. It didn't even bother me that we were not genetically tied. In my eyes, Stella was my mother, the only family I had. She loved and cared for me more than anyone else ever could. It hurt to even be here in her room, feeling her presence surrounding this place. But as I was going through her stuff, I accidentally stepped on a section of the floor that sounded hollow. It immediately sprung open, revealing a secret cellar underneath. The first thing I noticed was an intricate key-shaped necklace. Next to it was a letter, unveiling that this was an heirloom from my birth mother, who was none other than Queen Mary herself. Even more shockingly, she was still alive. On the day I was born, by Miranda's order, I was separated from Queen Mary, and she was held captive in the castle's dungeon. If it weren't for her pleading Miranda not to harm me, I might have been thrown into some orphanage far away. Instead, I was placed in Stella's care, as Miranda wanted to keep a close eye on me to prevent any chance of betrayal. Stella had regretted following Miranda's order ever since, as she grew to love me like her true daughter. She wanted to run away with me, but the thought of Miranda finding out and putting her family in danger stopped her. But she'd hoped that one day I'd be reunited with my mother. None of this felt real. My hands were still shaking as I held the letter. I need the answer to all my questions. I owed it to my mother to fulfill her dying wish. That night, following the instructions my mother left in her letter, I pretended to be a maid bringing food to prisoners and went down the secret tunnel. There were no guards in the large abandoned prison, only a thin, emaciated woman. Slowly and carefully, I approached her. "Are you Queen Mary?" I handed her the necklace. The woman's eyes lit up, and she looked up at me in shock, tears welling in her eyes. "Diana." I nodded. She pulled me into her arms and cried in joy. But then she abruptly pulled away from me. "What are you doing down here? Miranda is going to find out. It's too dangerous. You need to leave." "It's okay. No one knows I'm here. They won't find me." "Still, it's too risky. My sister is an evil woman. She always wanted to be the queen. So she picked the day I was at my weakest to imprison me, subdue you, and falsely declared my demise during childbirth. That's how she eliminates any obstacles that stop her from seizing the kingdom. But Miranda will never be the queen in people's heart. She's nothing more than an oppressor, and it pains me to know she has corrupted our kingdom. But you are here now, Diana. You're the true heir to the throne. You have to stop Miranda." "Me? I still haven't dared to believe any of this is real. I grew up just a little maid who's never been formally educated. What can I possibly do to overthrow someone in control of an entire country?" "Diana, I'm sorry I couldn't give you a better childhood, but I know, deep inside, you are a strong, resilient girl. Stella told me all the time how smart and bright you are, as she brought me food. Me and her both believed in you. You have the power to make things right." My mind was still swirling with all this new information, things that just seemed impossible, unbelievable. "I understand why you might be doubtful, but here, leave the palace and test your DNA against mine. Once you confirm your identity, you can decide what to do next, but you can't stay inside the castle any longer. 'Cause once Miranda finds out you know the truth, she won't leave you alone." I hesitated for a moment, but I knew what needed to be done. So, early in the morning, I packed up some belongings and grabbed some food before sneaking into a freight truck that was about to leave. But then I suddenly bumped into someone.
"Hey, watch where you're going!"
"Shh! Keep it down!"
"Why? Don't tell me you're some kind of thief."
"No, I'm a maid. I'm just not allowed to go outside the palace. But, the princess desperately wants to make a Dutch chocolate cake, and the storage is out of ingredients, so I need to go to market."
"And did you plan to sneak into my truck and have a free ride there?"
I didn't know it was your truck, but if you can help me, that would be lovely."
"And what would I get in return?"
"My company."
"Fair enough. It's a lonely ride. By the way, what's your name?"
"Diana. What's yours?"
People call me Harry. Now let's get going."
We hopped into the truck, and Harry turned out to be not such a bad companion. It was nice to have someone else my age to talk to for once, especially a handsome one. Then he turned on this music that's called pop. I swear, it was so good, I couldn't help grooving along.
"This song is my favorite. Do you know it?"
Nope. The Queen doesn't even allow us to own a radio.
"Oh, wow. Maybe I can sneak one in for you.
I would absolutely love that. After a while of driving, we took a break in the forest to stretch our legs. I shared with Harry some cookies and baked earlier today, when suddenly a snake coiled around the lower part of my leg and sunk its teeth into it. Pain immediately shot up. Moments later, Harry dislodged the snake and threw it away. Then he leaned over, sucking the venom out of my wound without hesitation. I blushed, both confused and flattered. He grabbed some clean cloths in the truck and helped me bandage the wound.
I'm sorry, that was weird.
No, that was kind of you. And I really hate to say this, but I don't think the snake is poisonous. I read about it in a book once, but still, thank you for saving me. His face turned bright red even for minutes later. It was so cute. We then continued our journey. When we arrived in an aristocratic area where people seemed to be living in luxury, I began to doubt that the kingdom was as poor and in bad shape as Queen Mary had said, until we arrived at the commoner community. I was taken aback by the small buildings and houses that were old and crumbling. The market was basically desolate, with only a couple of sellers in sight. I couldn't even find any baking supplies there. It was growing dark, so Harry asked if I wanted to crash at his place. I had nowhere else to go, so I agreed. Harry's house was shockingly small, but it was clean and cozy. His father is a doctor, and his mom takes care of his 3-year-old sister. They kindly welcomed me and invited me to have dinner with them. Although it was frugal, to say the least, and I could tell that everyone was still hungry after the meal. I have a loaf of bread in my pack. I'd love to share it with you all if that's okay, to thank you for your hospitality. Harry's mother smiled and nodded, and his little sister squealed in delight as she dug into the loaf of bread.
Since the famine began, everyone has suffered, even the ones with good jobs. We've all needed to tighten our belts a bit.
Just then, a loud thumping sounded at the front door.
Open this door now, or we will kick it down!
As Harry and his parents rushed to the door, I hid in another room, afraid that I would be recognized. The guards were there, demanding tax payment, or else the family would be removed from their home. It hurt me to watch them fork over the money, searching their pockets to count every last coin they had. That night, I tossed and turned. I couldn't stop thinking about how Queen Miranda could oppress her own people to this point. I was flooded with guilt, thinking about how gleefully Anne and I would share the tributes taken from these poor people, unaware that they were suffering and starving. I couldn't stay in bed any longer. I crept out into the hallway and down the stairs, and suddenly spotted Harry's father, reading a book under a lamplight. I'm sorry to disturb you.
No worries. Anything I could help you with?
I actually do need your help. You see, I left the palace because I wanted to confirm something. If you could please compare my DNA to this person believes she's my birth mother.
Sure. It might take a couple of days.
That's fine, but please do not tell anyone about this. He looked confused, like he wanted to ask more questions, but seeing how reserved I was, he didn't. The next morning, I helped Harry and his mother clean up the houses of other people who couldn't pay the tax last night. The guards had ransacked a number of homes looking for the money, and now they were left starving and penniless. It couldn't go on like this. I need to find a way to feed the people first. So I came up with the idea of hunting some wild animals in the forest for food. Then I instructed each household to build a hidden cellar under the ground to store their food and keep their properties to themselves. I was so focused on the dire situation that I didn't even have time to worry about the DNA results until I received them that evening.
The result shows that you and the other person are indeed related.
I see.
It also shows that the other DNA belongs to the late Queen Mary. May I know how this is possible?
It's because Queen Mary is still alive. And if the result is true, that means I really am her daughter. At that moment, Harry unexpectedly entered the room.
Jaw dropped. You're what?
No one told me it's this windy up here. I'll probably be wiped off of Earth before I could wipe all these windows. It's okay, Harper. Remember, you're doing this for Aaron. Just a bit of tough work for now, but imagine the incredible time you'll be having at the concert. Imagine, oh my God, Aaron and her? Hold up, let's start from the top. Hi, I'm Harper, the biggest fan of the greatest boy band, The Statics, especially their rapper Aaron. I turned 18 not long ago and I'm taking a gap year to find my true passion. To be honest, I'm not really interested in anything. The only thing that makes me feel alive right now is fangirling, following my boys around, concerts, touring, etc. But after months of that, I'm totally broke. Not to mention, Aaron's having his solo debut album. So, having no choice, I asked my super sweet boyfriend Kirk to lend me some money. But, again, all you ever did was spend relentlessly on this trash. You don't study, nor get a job. How are you expecting to afford it all? Do these idols feed you or give you a roof over your head? I don't think so. I can't help you forever either. Trash? He called my passion trash? Excuse me, I asked for a loan, not like I was robbing him. He wasn't like this the other times. Finally showing his true self, huh? Fine, I don't need an unsupportive boyfriend. Anyone that stands between me and my happiness can get lost. So, we're over. Whatever. But wait, I still need to come inside as Kyra's bestie, not as your girlfriend. You might be wondering what kind of relationships I have going on here. Well, I actually befriended Kyra first. We were both ecstatic. Fandom of the statics. If you know, you know. Fangirls bond is stronger than any friendship. Her mom works for a big press, so she sometimes could even get us access to shows. Cool, right? So I was always around her place. One thing led to another. Me and her brother fell in stupid love, but not anymore. Have you heard about Aaron's new album? Apparently it will be followed by a group concert right downtown New York. We can ask Kirk to give us a ride. It will be super fun. Oh, don't want to burst your bubble, but I just broke up with Kirk. 4 minutes, 36 seconds ago? No way! Yes way! I told her how ridiculous her brother was, but she still tried to find excuses for him, hoping to mend us back together. But sorry, this heart of mine has casted the dice. It's entirely dedicated to Aaron now. No more dumb boyfriend. And that's how I ended up taking on this dangerous job. Its high salary could get me boxes of albums and a concert ticket even. But what am I getting instead? My beloved idol, arms in arms with a singer I hate the most on earth, Bianca. Aaron and Bianca rushed to the window and dragged me inside. Please don't let anyone know this. What do you want? Autograph? VIP ticket? Please, you probably know our two fandoms are like water and oil. They already opposed us so badly over a collab last time. Yeah, of course I know, because I was the one who opposed. Seriously, what does Aaron see in this girl? She always says controversial stuff, gets caught in dating rumors with all guys on earth, parties 24/7, and her songs suck. But on a second thought, it's not every day to have the two hottest celebrities on their knees before me like this. Maybe I should act wisely. Either way, this is the lifetime opportunity for me stepping into Aaron's life, isn't it? Okay, I'll keep a secret on one condition. Let me be the manager of Bianca.
Bianca's manager? Who's looking for me? Wait, who are you?
But he didn't even bother to wait for my answer and started stacking out bunches of stuff for Bianca to sign.
Being a manager ain't a joke. See, Will's been doing this for years and still struggling.
Well then, more reason for me to step in. So I walked over to give him a hand. This poster is mid. Next time, let me handle it. Trust me, I've designed countless stuff for fan events. The title track this time is a bop, but without a good promotion, it turned into a flop. I suggest you make some TikTok challenge for it. I'm a girl Bianca's age. I for sure understand her and the fans more than you. I'll be useful. Right, guys? Yeah, sure.
She has a point, Will. You do need an assistant.
Right then, Will had a phone call. Seemed urgent. After hanging up, he turned to me.
Fine. It's true that I'm overloaded. I have to check stuff at the venue right now, but Bianca has schedules at the radio station in an hour. Can you get her there?
Sir, yes, sir. Just like that, I helped Will around, and it's safe to say I was basically Bianca's sub-manager. Life was pretty sweet. I got to tag along to shows for free, while keeping an eye on my love rival. I sure enjoyed playing God with my new puppet. Everything Bianca eats has to get my approval. Bye-bye, yummy tacos and burgers. She's only allowed to use the phone at certain times of the day. Stop texting boys and start working on your terrible music, honey. Then tell those annoying boys to stop bothering me. Even her sleep is strictly fixed, just because I love seeing her suffer. And I make sure her schedule is packed. Vocal training, dance practice, filming content. Girl, you have a lot to work on. But on days where she worked with the statics, I'd let her off a little. Still, that doesn't mean these two could flirt under my nose. Seriously? It's like you guys are begging to get caught. Think about your future. This dumb fling won't matter a bit the day your career's on the edge of failing, won't it? I'd make a good manager, right? But I occasionally saw Liam, another member of Statics, being way too chatty with Bianca. Well, as long as it's not my Aaron. But I know someone who wouldn't like this. Kyra, as Liam's her bias. I guess the rumors are true. Liam is a playboy. And to prevent Aaron from getting caught in the same thing, I accidentally arranged Bianca's schedule to be 100% off with Aaron's, so they couldn't meet up. But Bianca still asked me to bring him gifts often, and surprisingly, Aaron wasn't too upset about his girlfriend not showing up. I guess I can get him in another level that Bianca couldn't. We soon talk a lot and hang out also, and he literally blurted out about how Bianca was so uptight, how some of her annoying habits gave him the ick, and that being with me was so much more comfortable. Uh-oh, sounds like love's fading. On the other hand, Bianca was extra upset that they still couldn't date on their anniversary. Not on me, though. Aaron himself didn't want to see her and made excuses about how paparazzi had been up on his grill because he's been doing so well lately. But Bianca has had enough with this all. She wanted to go public. I heard her talking to Aaron on the phone about it. No, that's not gonna happen. I have to be a step ahead. I immediately searched for a photo, then posted it anonymously on a fan forum. If Aaron goes public with anyone, it's gotta be me. But oh boy, maybe I've not thought this through. What was I even thinking? The next day, the internet went crazy and it's all negative comments. Thankfully, Aaron's side has spoken up and calmed it down by fabricating a story about how this was from a long time ago. And it was his first love, blah blah. Anything, as long as things go down. I haven't even finished my sigh of relief, then out of nowhere, Aaron's stomping into our studio looking furious. R.I.P. me. Bianca, have you lost your mind? I told you I did not agree. Why did you post our photo? Are you trying to sabotage me? Sorry that you don't have a career so you can act careless all you want. But I do. I have my reputation and an army of stupid fangirls to please. I was frozen, as well as Bianca. Right then, a call came from Kyra. I swiftly sneaked out to take it. It's you, right? The lucky girl in the photo? I can tell by just one look. Last time we talked, you only mentioned seeing Bianca in real life or something. When did Aaron come into the picture? How could you not tell me? I was dumbfounded, didn't know how to handle this. I mumbled out a few words so Kyra would keep this a secret and that we'd talk later. Okay, gotcha. But then help me meet my Liam, please. What? No, trust me, he's a player. They all are. Get over him. So Kyra recognized me that easily, but why Aaron didn't? He even mistook me with his so-called girlfriend, Bianca. That picture was also taken at the secret balcony of his penthouse that he swore he'd never taken anyone there before. Having too much on my mind, I wandered to his place, but ran into Liam? He's talking to a girl. She wiped her tears, then left. I should get going. Don't want to mess with another player right now. Harper! What? Don't worry, I won't tell anyone about that 400th girlfriend of yours. Correct, it's the 400th girlfriend, but not of mine. Turns out that girl's also a victim of Aaron the Heartbreaker, not Liam. Liam has always been the one who's cleaning after his mess, making sure the girls are all right and won't do anything harmful to the band's reputation. Probably that's why the public labeled me as the player. I always got caught up with these heartbroken girls. And now you. What do you mean? I'm okay. Come on, I know you also got tangled in Aaron's love web. I'm sorry, I could have warned you earlier. I've been trying to hint it to Bianca, but the girl was too head over heels for him. I felt so stupid for thinking I could live that fantasy of being Aaron's girl so easily. All this time, we all blindly put Aaron on a pedestal, while letting Liam be wrongly accused of all the things he never did. Through Liam, I found out that the Statics has been having a problem. Aaron wanted to leave the group because he thought they're a burden and he'd do better on his own. But the rest knew that it would break the fans' heart if one of them left. So they've compromised by letting Aaron have a solo album while still staying with the group. Oh no, kick that jerk out now. As a representative of Ecstatic, I can assure you that we won't be sad if we know what an awful person he is. We'll show him the door. Glad to hear that. Now, about Bianca, do you know how to break this to her in the best way? It's hard, but ugly truth is the only way. So the next day, we went to see Bianca together, told her all about how much of a jerk Aaron is, all the girls he's been seeing, all the bad-mouthing about her, he said. Surprisingly, she took it better than we thought. Thank you, too, for looking out for me. I know he's bad, but I thought I'd been able to change him. But yesterday when he came throwing a fit at me, I realized that I deserved better. Oh, poor Bianca. I really owe her a zillion apologies. I asked Liam to give us a minute and came clean to her on everything. On the photo I posted, on how I intentionally got in between the relationship, on my dumb rules just to get the better of her. I'm truly sorry. I'm just a Delulu fangirl after all. I'm really sad to hear that because at some point I did consider you a friend, especially your ridiculous rules. It helped me a lot. Look, you kept me on a strict diet, helped me get a healthy sleep schedule, made me practice more, stay off my phone, no more doom scrolling and obsessing over hateful comments. I can assure that you've helped me become a better artist and human overall, even though it's by accident. You are seriously too nice. How come I spent all these years hating on you? I'm sorry, and I don't think I should be around here anymore. I'd better go back to my normal life. Take care, Bianca. Bianca gave me a tight hug and said that she hoped I'd still come to her concert next week, as she'd perform the dance number we created together. Liam was nice enough to accompany me to Bianca's concert. I did ask Kyra if she wanted to come along, but she was all cranky. Bianca's concert? Are you an ecstatic anymore, Harper? She's our enemy. Kiddo, if only she could see past the hate. She could have met her Liam now. The show was going on smoothly. Bianca perfected our dance routine. I was so proud. But as she went to get ready for the next song, a strange VCR got played. I'm a selfish fanatic. A friend's betrayal, a gold digger, a delulu, and on screen were pictures of me. No! Is this why Bianca insisted I come? Is this her paying back? Or is this Aaron's? Or Liam's? Suddenly, Bianca on the mic snapped me out of the panic attack. And I'm all the worst things without your love. Ladies and gentlemen, your favorite track from my second album, here's Without You. Everyone cheered loudly, but a voice behind me took me aback. No, guys! That's not what the video's about! The lunatic is here! This one! Oh my god! Liam quickly shushed her and we dragged her outside. Turned out my dearest sister from another mother did this to me. Why? I hate you. I know everything now. Don't forget who I am. Nothing in this fandom could be hidden from me. You got to befriend the boys, but ghosted me because you want them all to yourself, huh? After everything we've been through, all the shows my mom helped you get in, you bewitched Aaron, sided with Bianca, then called my Liam a player. But look who you're with now. On top of that, you dumped my brother for a stupid reason. The player here is you. This is a mess, and it's really my fault. I should have filled Kyra in on everything sooner. Seeing her right now reminds me of the exact same person I was just last week. The same hot-headed, immature fan. I couldn't blame her. I apologized and told her everything. And with her dearest Liam's help, Kyra, though still mad, started to be more understanding. I love you, and I hope you will soon see things the way I do now. Idols are also humans. They're not all glitters and gold, so we can't expect them to be all perfect, then refuse to see their wrongdoings, or nitpicking trivial things just because it's not up to our expectations. Let's both be a better ecstatic from now, okay? It's been 6 months since then. I can say that things are definitely for the better now. It's the first performance of the Static since they parted ways with Aaron after his real face got exposed. Yes, that happened. Now look, it seems like the crowd has no problem with dumping that troublemaker either. And me? Normally I'd be here as an ecstatic, but not today. I'm now working part-time while studying to get proper certification on talent management. I realized that I did enjoy working with Bianca and I actually had a knack for it, so I'm going to make a career out of it. Now, excuse me guys, may I get my manager back? It's showtime. Bye!
I was chewing popcorn watching my favorite channel with my bestie Diana when I heard Juliana's screeching voice. Cheryl! Emergency! Help me! I dashed towards her room to see her struggling with clothes. Oh, my dear, you're here. Come and help me choose which bag would suit my gown better, Gucci or Versace. Is this your emergency? Yes, absolute emergency. I must look fab on tonight's date. What? A date? Don't you remember you just cried your eyes out for some jerk yesterday? Can you believe her? Sorry, I forgot to introduce myself. Hi, I'm Cheryl, living in New York. And that's Juliana, my aunt. My parents passed away when I was little. Since then, Juliana moved in and became my guardian, as per their will. She was funny and expected to make good company in this huge house, but most of the time she wasn't around. The only time she sat down with me was... I just bought him a brand new Bentley to walk his dog the other day, but the next day he immediately dumped me. He said he wanted to share my burden, but seeing how heavy my 20-carat diamond necklace is, he stole it and ran away. My auntie always loved with all her heart, only her taste in men really needs some fixing. As you can see, all gold diggers. But for some reason, she refused to see those red flags and still hooked on them like a crazy bull. And inevitably, her long list of heartbroken stories keep getting longer and longer. Recently, Juliana met someone new and dined out every day. But you know how it's gonna end. Once they steal something from her, they surely would run away and leave her inconsolable back to me. Actually, I've once dated a guy like that. But of course, I'm not easy to deceive like Juliana. Once I sensed something fishy about that guy, I kicked him in his butt right away. That's why it's my first and also my only relationship I've been in. But no big deal. I have my bestie Diana. She might look timid, but really reliable. She knew everything about me. Then one day, Juliana asked me to join them for dinner. Wasn't this the first time she introduced her boyfriend to me? But this guy was kinda special? Or even strange to her usual style. Juliana only ever dated six-pack guys. But now, what's this overweight, short, and bald man doing here? Auntie, are you alright? But the real bummer was he brought along his son, who also happened to be Andrew, my freaking gold digger ex. It all happened when I was 14, the age where everyone was in a relationship, except me and Diana. One day, my class gathered to play Kiss, Spin the Bottle, and on my turn, the bottle pointed to Andrew, the only boy in my class who was single at that time. Friends screamed in extreme excitement and started to push us together, and we kissed. Since then, my classmates started to ship us as a couple until one time Andrew came to me. Hey, you don't have a boyfriend. I don't have a girlfriend. Why don't we become an item? Our friends seem to like it too. Stupid offer, right? But 14-year-old me thought it's a good idea to join the dating circle like my friends after all. I mean, being the only single girl really sucked. And he surely got a look and would make a good match with me. So I agreed. And we became official and did what other couples do, from holding hands to public kissing. Andrew turned out to be a good acting partner. And it was quite fun, to be honest. Except for those moments where I wish I could just end his life. Bae, I'm hungry. Get me something. But he's still totally wrapped up in finishing his 10th burger. Until I nudged him that did he pay attention to his starving girlfriend? Aw, my bae is hungry. Then eat, my love. But what was it? I opened my eyes to find out he fed me his greasy finger. Ew! That definitely raised my hackles up. I stood up and gave him my tantrum, but he had the audacity to fight back. If Diana hadn't stopped me there, I swear I was going to give him some scratches. But still, we both had to settle down our first couple fight to continue our lovey-dovey girlfriend-boyfriend thing. Ugh. Things ran quite so smoothly that sometimes I thought I was in a real relationship. Then one day, I was walking in the schoolyard to hear some boys talking. Hey, Andrew and Cheryl have been together for 2 months, right? Yeah. I can't believe our spin the bottle trick that day could be that successful. Shout out to our handsome boy Andy, who's willing to go into the lioness's den to help us earn some more allowance from our rich lady. Perfect. And now the bait is taken, it's time to give Andrew the cue to action. What? So Andrew's offer only comes from an attempt of leeching onto me? How dare he? I immediately stormed away to find him sit on a bench. Hi, bae. Why the long face? Who stole your food? Drop your act. I know you're just a gold digger. What gibberish are you talking about? I don't know what's going on with you, but don't put it on me. He still had the guts to deny it and even dared to go berserk at me. We're over. Not long after, he moved to another city with his family. Good riddance. And from that moment, I said no to boys, as they only come to me for money. I didn't expect to see this jerk again, especially in this kind of situation. I dragged him outside. You have to stoop this low? Couldn't get my money, so now you asked your dad to steal from my aunt? Quit thinking everything has to spin around you just because you have some money. I just want my dad happy and he seemed to like your aunt. I warn you, don't cause any trouble. The next morning, I woke up to the most shocking news ever. Cheryl, Mr. Hardy and I are engaged! The wedding is soon to be decided and 2 families will move in together. What on earth? They've known each other for hardly 2 months and now they're getting married? What? This Hardy guy must have put some kind of spell on Juliana. Wait, so Andrew the jerk, he's my cousin now? No, I can't let him rob me one more time. I so needed some bestie talk right now. But why is Diana clinging to Andrew? I rushed over without a second thought. Hey, what's going on here? Are you blind? We're seeing each other now. What kind of gibberish did I just hear? I dragged Diana away immediately. You better have a proper reason. I'm sorry. You know too well what kind of person he is. Why? Can you do me a favor? You and Andrew are living under the same roof now, but can you keep a distance from him? What? Are you for real? You know, I'm a bit insecure. Okay, fine. You worry for nothing anyway. In no scenario do I want to be near him. What's wrong with the people around me? Frustrated, I came home, but to see Andrew's dad in my house.
We just moved back to the city, so it's taking more time for our housing contract to settle. So we'll have to live in your place, just for now. Is it okay?
Of course, babe. This castle is too big for the two of us anyway. Right, Cheryl? Yeah, how convenient for you, Mr. Hardy. Just move in, and all this house and cars are all yours to use now. And that's how Andrew and his dad entered my life and made it miserable. Every single night, he kept bothering me with a screeching sound that I couldn't stay focused on studying. Stop it, or I'm gonna throw away your flute.
Pity you can't comprehend art, cousin.
Not just that, I had to share a bathroom with him, which now rather turned into his own exhibition of Star Wars obsession from towels, doormats, or even toothbrushes. Literally everything. Ugh. He even left his stinky football jersey for days. Ew. And of course, I couldn't let Andrew invasion continue like that. I drawed the boundary to set my territory.
Hey, that's not fair. You got an inch more.
What? Obviously not. And you know where he got his annoying nature from? Yeah, you guessed that right. His dad one day brought a full box of tools and left them everywhere in my house. Then he dragged every old item out of the basement and got them fixed. Hey, this castle wasn't supposed to be his mechanic shop, and we have enough money to buy new stuff. One day I told Juliana my bed was too high and I wanted a new one. But Mr. Hardy was faster and insisted on fixing my bed. But when I lied on it, it collapsed immediately. Help, my butt! I just know it's his tactics to win Juliana's heart. And seemed like it worked, as my aunt, who was never seen in the kitchen, now volunteered to show off her cooking skills. Wow, love's power, they say. Then let's see how love would burn. I just happened to heat up their love by adding some super hot chili into Mr. Hardy's portion. And after the first bite, he ended up crying like a baby.
Don't you know I have a peptic ulcer?
Then he held his stomach and left the table. Juliana hurriedly followed him to their room, all looking concerned. New trick to wheedle some more gifts? Impressive.
It's you, right?
Me what? I ignored him and went back to my delicious sup, but this party pooper stole the dish and scoffed, like being left starving for decades. Okay, fine. If you insist. You just pushed all of my buttons, you moron. I snatched his dish and finished the steak in front of him, and I could see his eyes turned red in anger. And that's when the fork fight broke out between us, until the maids came in to prevent any more calamity. The next morning, I saw my aunt taking Mr. Hardy to the hospital. Oh, I didn't expect it to be that bad. Right then, a delivery man came. Oh my! Wasn't it Green Day? My favorite band of all time? But this vinyl was rare. Not everyone could have this. Who bought it?
It's mine.
You?
Hey, cousin, can you pay for me?
I spent all my money on game yesterday. Classic. Fine, I'll pay. To make up for the prank yesterday. Okay, but with a condition. I'll unbox the vinyl. We returned to the living room and opened the vinyl. The cool guitar riffs and engaging lyrics gives me chills every time. When my jam was playing, I sang it out loud like usual. And notice Andrew did too. And just like that, we sang together until the song ended. And we started to talk about Green Day nonstop.
American Idiot was the best album ever written. Fight me.
No, Andrew Idiot. Dookie was the one that established their name.
You call me idiot? Then you might listen to Dookie too much that turned you into Cheryl Poopy as well.
What? I'm Cheryl Cherry Bomb! Too much for spending time with this jerk this morning. His taste in music is okay, but his personality is definitely not. One day at school, while I was busy with my homework, suddenly a boy stormed in my place.
Hey, beauty, I get a dare. Would you mind giving me a kiss?
What? I very mind. Get off me! But he still leaned towards and trying to press his dry as the bark of a tree lips on mine.